Welcome everyone, this is Commander JeremyDaniels coming at you again with another World of Warships video. This time we are going to be watching the escapades of one Stephen DePoe, another member of the Darkfin clan, in all of our favorite destroyer, the Clemson. He was quite proud of this match. It is one of the best runs that he has done in a long while, and as such we're going to celebrate with him as we revel in his accomplishments. May not have been quite as extraordinary as some, but it doesn't matter. He did well, and we want to give him praise where praise is due. Starting off, he was giving a quick little greeting in chat. Yes, we do the whole poi bit, and of course, it never fails to make a few people salty. Which, I'm gonna be honest, I never really understood that. If it's something you don't like, then that's all fine and well and good, but why do you have to insult people who like things you don't like? Regardless, it's something that amuses us, and, well, it never ceases to give us a few giggles when somebody's jimmies get wrestled. Now, Sarge here is in a match, or is in a division with two other members of the Darkfin clan, Ace, who you may remember did another Clemson match, and where he pulled off some crazy amount of damage and racked up himself a Kraken, Confederate, and high caliber. The other member is Ken Jr. back there. Yeah, he turned pink. Sometimes it happens. We are trying to help him learn to make sure that he doesn't do things that causes him to cause team damage. But everyone has to start somewhere. Now this is on fault line here, standard battle. Ace and Sarge are pushing up the western flank, doing a little bit of scouting, trying to give some advanced intel to the rest of the team. Now we got an enemy Shenyang over yonder. Just for context, this particular match was recorded, or was played, back the day after Christmas, so December 22nd. Alright, Ace went, enemy Clemson popped up, and as brutal as the Clemson may be, there we are. Sorry, I had to clear out that little tooltip. That isn't really doing us much of any good. And as good of a ship as the Clemson may be, it's a little hard for you to take on another Clemson, especially one that's backed up by a second ship. Now Ace was laying the smoke, allowing Sarge to make use of it, while Sarge got in some good cheeky shots at this Clemson. Enemy Isokaze popped up, but so long as you can watch out for the torps, you should be alright from the Isokaze, because their guns are not terribly good. Now you see there's a whole bunch of torpedoes there, and now things are getting a little interesting because there's a Svetlana that just popped up. Ace is in a bit of a pickle because he is sitting there in a... Oh, and there he goes. As first blood, unfortunately. Well, it happens. So I believe those torpedoes should be pretty good on for hitting that Svetlana, but the Svetlana appears to have... Nope! Ace did get it. Excellent. So, yes, it is a bit of a kill trade-off. Sarge is dropping some torps towards the enemy smoke. And, well, exfiltrating, because now he has another destroyer closing in from the east, a Königsberg from the north, and a Danae from the east as well. Ooh, those were some close rounds that came in there. Still, he managed to keep from getting picked up by them, but he is like I said, he is in a bit of a pickle. Oh wow, that's going to be quite annoying there. Because he now has pretty much the entire enemy fleet taking pot shots at him. This is the point where you just run like you stole something. Oh. Sarge is still trying to take out that Clemson there. Knocked him down to pretty low health, under 1,000 hit points. Ooh, and the DePoe just took a nasty brace of torpedoes from the carrier, it looks like. Now, Sarge is swinging his guns around to put fire on that Shenyang. Pan-Asian destroyers are very dangerous vessels. Ooh, the DePoe got a good hit on them too. But the thing to remember about the Pan-Asian vessels, against other destroyers, they are at a disadvantage in a knife fight because, well, they have no, their torpedoes cannot hit other destroyers. Only only cruisers and battleships. Throwing out one set of torps just to kind of hedge his bets. Still taking some nasty fire from that DePoe. But since the Shenyang is still spotted by, looks like by Ken actually, who is about to get all nice and cozy with that Isokaze, unfortunately. But there we are, Sarge's first kill. Not a whole heap of a lot of damage, but it's all been to enemy destroyers. Remember, the amount of XP you get from doing damage is proportional to the amount of total XP of the ship that you did the damage to. So 1,000 damage on destroyers is worth far more than 1,000 damage on the battleship. Speaking of battleships, we have an Orion closing in here. And Sarge has his torpedoes loaded on both sides. He is wisely deciding to not go forward and just get wrecked again. The enemy Isokaze, or the allied Isokaze and Kuma, we can see are moving up along the eastern flank, almost to the enemy cap, which is going to provoke some consternation from the enemy team. We're keeping them all roughly bottled up. But there's the Isokaze now making its move on Ken, and I believe he is, yep, that close to range, there's just no dodging those torps. A little wasteful of the Isokaze to throw out 2 volleys at Ken because he was on 8,000 health. All he needed was 1 torp hit to take him out. But then again, I've had times where I thought that I had a sure kill on somebody. Finally fired off 1 torpedo volley or one set of guns, and ended up not finishing them off. Now that the other allied Wyoming did take 1 torpedo from the 3rd launcher on the Isokaze, but only 1. Unfortunately, the Isokaze's reload is quite fast. So there's another battleship down, and Sarge is moving in, trying his best to make sure that he avenges that ship. Königsberg with some hot shots at the put some hot shots in on that Orion as well. Sarge drops out torps, but quite honestly, those torps are going to be a little superfluous because he is more likely going to wreck this Isokaze as is. Yep, down to under 1,000 health, and he's burning. Ooh, and Sarge just beaches himself. Oh, he gets 1 more hit on the Isokaze, but it doesn't quite finish him off. That is quite the crying shame, I'm afraid. Ooh, and he takes another couple hits. He is he's down to 1,100 hit points. Which, oh, had the Isokaze pop up there for a moment. He aims, throws out a hopeful shot. No dice, but he already is starting to move because he knows the torpedoes are coming. Turning hard. Oh, he has pulled off the torpedo beat. Isokaze moved in, hoping that he could have caught him with his guns, but unfortunately for the Isokaze, Sarge already had his guns pointed in the right direction. Now, that's a little bit better. He's got a full... he's basically taken out 1 destroyer from full health by himself. That is going to be a good amount of XP there. He has taken quite the savage beating so far. On the upshot, the team, or Sarge's team, has has two destroyers left, himself included, while the enemy team has none. So they're up on ships, up on types of ships, and we have somebody in the enemy base blocking their cap. Now I believe that the Svetlana has already been hit by the carrier to keep from or to reset the cap. Sarge is waiting here to see if hopefully he can get a torpedo volley off on this Wyoming. Wyoming is seeming to be a little on the cagey side. Obviously doesn't want to push forward too far and start turning broadside to that Miyogi, because that would be quite the recipe for a paddling, though Miyogi is in a deep bit of trouble due to, well, he's facing off against a pair of Wyomings there, and there's an enemy Miyogi coming from the back. But, thankfully for our Miyogi, Sarge is providing a nice little bit of allied support. Now it's a little dangerous here because the secondaries of the Wyoming, while not terribly grand, there's not a whole lot of Sarge's ship left to take out. And he even gets Nick from one of the secondaries, but manages to get away with his life intact. And scores himself a nice devastating strike on that Wyoming. Now this time, Sarge is turning around. There's the Miyogi coming up. Certainly this Miyogi isn't going to try to push around while he knows there's an American destroyer just around the corner. Is he? Is he? I think he just may. So Sarge might be able to get himself... Wait. Yep, he... Looks like Sarge is turning around and getting ready to drop a torpedo strike on the Miyogi as soon as the Wyoming's hulk finishes going under. Now the Miyogi is attempting to hug the island to keep Sarge from being able to get too many torpedoes off, but it doesn't really matter at this point. As close as Sarge is, and the way he's coming with the Miyogi is coming around now in a nice straight line. Let's just follow these here. Miyogi's gonna only catch one of those because Sarge actually threw them out expecting him to turn out. Then there is three more. Miyogi is practically dead and flooding. Why he hasn't repaired the flooding, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Sarge sets a fire anyway, fishes them off with his guns, and there's kill number 4, and almost 100,000 damage. Which has also poised Sarge to get himself a Kraken, potentially. So he hits his speed boost, he cranks the rudder hard over, and he is running, trying to get back there either to the Langley or to the Isuzuchi. Now, this is the part where... Yeah, more stuff going on in chat there. Seems that the enemy or the allied Isokaze is expressing some surprise at not being able to, at the fact that he missed all of his torpedoes. Which, that's the thing about torpedoes. If you have a ship that is doing some severe evasive maneuvers, unless you get into point blank range to execute them, isn't really going to go anywhere, I'm afraid. Looks like the allied, well, looks like those two Isuzuchis up there at B4 are about to get into a little bit of a hugging contest. Which is always all sorts of good and hilarious. So now, there is only one enemy vessel left. So if Sarge wants to get his Kraken, he's going to have to get in here on this Langley. Which, regardless, this has still been quite the exceptional match for Sarge. Having to dance around, dodging a fusillade of fire from the entire enemy team. Somehow managing to get away despite being hammered by a Dene, the enemy Clemson, and the Shenyang, with a little bit of his health left. swimming torpedoes, and then finding 2 battleships that decide to just charge on in and eat his lovely, lovely fish. Now at this point, Sarge actually asks the rest of the team to if he could potentially get the Kraken. And the carrier tells him to go for the cap, which, in most situations, the smart thing to do at this point late in the match probably would be to go get the cap. But when it's 1 vessel left, and it's just the enemy carrier, and you have a market points lead, up by 260 points, this is the time where going for, killing them all is not a bad option. And asking for the Kraken, there's nothing wrong with asking politely if you can get the Kraken. Unfortunately, the carrier decided that Sarge was going to be denied, which is quite sad. But it is his prerogative. Anyway, that's all for me, folks. Take care.